Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about something real special. There's a really profitable opportunity right now, which is professional service ads on Microsoft/Bing. What this basically is, in short, it's not, ads that you're running on Bing for a professional service business. It's a special type of ad that exists on Bing and only Bing, where usually it's on the right hand of the screen, but it can be in the center part of the screen. When you search for something like tax consultant, money management consultant, or it could be an environmental consultant, there's a box with 3 different listings that's going to show up, which is similar to Google local service ads, how that kind of works, where there's a individual that shows up there with the reviews and their phone number. Well, Bing has its own kind of version of this, but Google doesn't actually have anything for professional services, whereas Bing does. Because Bing's pretty much a forgotten thing in general anyway, very few people in your niche are going to be on there. There's way even less people that even know about this yet. And so just by simply being there and having your strategy set up, you can just clean up. The ROI is off the charts with this thing. So with that said, I'm going to give you the strategy that we're using here for a few different clients now to understand how to execute this ultimately for yourself as well, what kind of returns you can get as well from this, after giving a few examples. So with that said, I'll get right into the content. So professional service ads, as Microsoft Ads calls them, are ads that show a professional's face or business on Bing separate than the rest of the regular search ads that you normally see on Bing. So it's its own separate thing. Unfortunately, you can't just do professional service ads, at least technically on paper. There's a way that I'm going to show you here that you can only just scoop up those really sweet, cheap customers or clients from using professional service ads in that spot specifically, without having to touch the regular search ads in your market, because those don't convert at the same rate these professional service ads do. At least for professional services here, well, should I say in general, because that's just how it is, that these ads convert better. As far as why they convert better, the reason for that is because first of all, they convert at 2 to 3 times the rate in terms of the people that are going to click on your ad that are going to turn into a lead. 2 to 3 times more of them will turn into a lead per click than the regular text ads if you decide to run those on Microsoft or Bing ads, basically. The reason for this, though, is real simple. Like a shopping ad on Google search, which I know you're not in that business, but I've mentioned many times on this channel that the reason why shopping ads work so good is because people can see what they get before they click on the ad. So the people that click on your ad are highly qualified buyers. This is the same kind of thing. You're not selling a product here, but because they can see your face and your name and confirm what you do, once they click on that, they only click on that if they're ready to hire somebody. Whereas a text ad can say, I'm Jane Smith, I'm a tax consultant, please hire me. People don't analyze that text ad the same way as seeing a visual of a physical person there. And the reason also for that is a lot of times when people make a search on, doesn't matter if it's Google or Bing, they make a search and then they expect the search engine to just cough up a relevant result for them, and then they just click on it without even reading the ad. Whereas if you show a picture of a person on the ad, they actually pay attention to that more, and therefore you're getting a more qualified click out of it. So you could take advantage of the opportunity to show a picture of yourself or show a picture of your staff members, which you could do this for multiple staff members, and people knowing consciously what they're clicking on before they click on it to get a much higher conversion per click, and with your ad dollars get a much higher return from those clicks at the same time. So the main thing, if you go ahead and type in, go to Bing.com and you search for tax consultant, financial planner, consultant, whatever it is your niche is, and then consultant, you'll probably see this box come up showing the 3 listings of different professional services people in your area. But with the caveat that most markets, it's just national companies spamming it. Why? Because this is so fairly new and it's so time consuming to create what, you've got to have this data feed fed into Microsoft Ads in order to do this, that almost nobody in your local market's going to be doing this. Practically speaking, it might be, for instance, in the tax consulting space, in most markets, if you go ahead and type in tax consultants while you're in Phoenix or while you're in Minneapolis, TurboTax is going to show up, which is like not even what people want to see there because there's nobody else doing it. So if you do it, in other words, you could be the only one doing it. Therefore, your ad is going to get clicked on compared to the other people spamming it 2 to 3 to 4 times the rate than the other national people that are spamming this, that have an internal marketing department that took advantage of this hack. And then so you're going to be paying 50% less per click than what you would normally pay for a search ad on Bing. Okay? So you're going to sum this up, you're going to get 2 to 3 times the conversion rate than what a search ad would provide, while also getting a 50% less cost per click than what a search ad would cost to get clicks from there. So when you combine those, you got something that's 5 times roughly more profitable than the regular search ads on Bing. Okay? All you got to do is create a regular search campaign on Bing and then upload a data feed for professional services to Bing, associating associating your data feed with your campaign that you just set up, and you'll start showing up there pretty much right away. So, like I said before, there's no way to separate the search ads, though, unfortunately, completely away from these professional service ads where your picture and your name will show up on Bing search, which is the clicks that you want. However, because the cost per click is going to be so much cheaper just in general, and effectively because you're going to have such a better ad than the other national people that are spamming this area, that you can actually, if you just bid low, as we found, Microsoft's going to recommend you bid $3 to $5 to start. I recommend bidding $1 per click, or maybe even $2. Depends on your niche, how competitive it is. But you could start out with $1. Because your bid is so low, you're not going to be eligible to be shown on the regular search ads, but you will still be eligible to be shown in this professional service ad spot on the search results, therefore effectively allowing you to only tap into this professional service ad spot, getting all the goodies from this and not having to waste money on the regular text ads that they try to ram down your throat to try to get this super high producing section and clicks on and from this section, which is, by the way, what these ad networks love to do, is take something that really works and then force you to buy this other thing with it that doesn't sell. So that said, that's kind of the formula to get you going and to not have to pay for the search ads at the same time. Couple other tips with this to make it work. You're going to want to use a real photo. Microsoft is going to allow you to put a stock photo there of like a desk and like some papers and shit like that. Don't do that, because that's not what consumers want to see. If I'm going to hire a tax consultant, I want to see the damn tax consultant I'm hiring there. I want to know who I'm dealing with. Otherwise, I'll just click on something else. So upload a real photo of yourself. Like I said, you can do multiple people that work at your firm if you're running a firm. And then furthermore, on the data feed that you have to upload to make this possible, you're going to stuff that feed with as much data as you possibly can. And yes, it's a pain in the ass. But you only have to set it up once, and that can bring in 5, 10, 15, 20 leads a month regularly at a super cheap cost once you just got it set up. And the fact that it's hard means your competitors are not going to do it. As they say in life, anything that's worth doing isn't going to be easy. And if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth doing. This directly applies to this. So there's a barrier to entry in terms of effort, which means 95% of people that you compete with aren't going to do it or want to do it. Even if they knew about it, by the way, they won't want to do it. Whereas 90+% of people already aren't even going to know about it. Of the people that do know about it, 90% of them are not going to want to put the effort in to put the data feed together. And so it's basically all to your own, unless you'll compare, at least, and you'll just be competing with the national people that are spamming the section and don't have real people showing up in this professional service ad spot. So with all that said, those are the basic tips. I mean, you don't need to know a lot to be able to get leads for 20% the cost of what search ads can provide on Bing and 10% of the cost of what Google ads are going to bring you, ultimately. It's not going to bring you in hundreds and hundreds of leads a month because it's still actually Bing, but there's no reason why you can't make $10,000 a month, like the title says here, by hooking this up if you're in a larger metro market, particularly as you can put your ad up and load your feed because it asks you what areas you cover. If you do all the cities around the major area that or metro area that you cover. We had a tax consultant who did this, and they lived in the LA area, and then it worked so well, we just started adding all the cities in the SoCal area as a whole, which is 30 million people. Obviously, that's almost 10% of the population of the whole country, and that had enough search volume for us to make $10,000 a month plus by having just this one mechanism to bring in leads for this client. And whereas they didn't necessarily like paying, the cost per lead, even though they still basically did it from Google and all that, and just totally, instead of going super deep with Bing search ads or go deeper with Google search ads, they just did this in their city and where they were at, and then they just started spreading out, and they went wider and wider and wider because the clients were coming in so inexpensively. And generally speaking, a lot of you guys, all the business can be done through the phone and through the internet anymore, and the leads are so cheap. If somebody wants to come into you, you could just say, sorry, we can't do that. And the ones that will deal with you over the phone, you've got the leads are so cheap, you can still make that work. So you could take the system that our clients were using and then just go ahead and do, not just like if you live in, Dallas, you could use, Dallas, Fort Worth, and then all the cities around that area at the very least. And then maybe you start going into Austin because it's working so good, and then you just keep spreading out, knowing that most people aren't going to actually need to come into your office to do business. And then it really becomes a hack. And this is why, by the way, in the situation like I was talking about before, TurboTax is the one that shows up all over the place now when you type in tax consultant, because they're taking advantage of this exact hack. It works so good to bring in leads so cheap that they just started doing it across the country. And so you can beat them at their game if you were a tax consultant, because you can have a real photo of a real person and somebody who, even if it is 200 miles away, you technically could go to them the one time that you need to meet with them, and then after that you're just doing things over through the internet, because that's how things are done nowadays, and clean up like they are, but in your own way, so to say. So we know it works for a tax consultant. This can work for any professional services market. So if you're struggling on Google to get leads for cheap enough, just go to Bing and just get these professional service ads going, and you'll almost for sure make money. It's cheap enough, even one single guy who's not doing anything else besides it's just him in a business, you can make money without needing a lot of money. You could start out with $1,000 a month on ads and start doing really well with that $1,000 a month in ads already, or even $500 a month in ads. If you can't afford to put $500 a month into a campaign, you don't deserve to be in business, sorry. So you can start out, anybody can afford to do this basically, and the leads come in so cheap. Even if you are an ad expert, you can make this work because there's not a lot of moving pieces here. You just got to get the data feed filled with the right data that represent your business, get a real photo, and you're in business right away, getting leads for 10% of the cost of what you can get them on Google. So we've done this in other markets as well. We've done this in the financial services space before. We've done this in the medical space before, chiropractic. So which both of them worked just as well as with the tax consultant. To various levels of success. With the tax consultant, we were able to go wider, so they were able to make that $10K a month. These other situations, we were in not quite a big of an area, and the client, of course, people had to kind of go to them, so we weren't able to just go within 300 miles of the clinic, so to say. So, or office, clinic and office. So you may not be able to certainly make $10K a month if you're not in a bigger area, or you're willing to go wider, which if it were me, I'm going to go super wide. I'm going to go knowing that I can convince 80-90% of the people to either meet me once or not meet at all and still be able to do business with them. Like at our own firm, ultimately people don't, we had an office, we still have an office, but nobody comes into it because everybody wants to just do business online. Even if they are in Phoenix, they don't come in anymore. Nobody wants to come in anymore. So I can run my professional service ads to everybody in the entire Southwest. And if I did have to meet with somebody, I could just drive to them for the one-offs if the money's right. But for the most part, I don't have to worry about it. I could just look like I'm local. And the fact that I look local means they'll call, but that doesn't mean they need to necessarily come in. The reason why I don't do it, by the way, is because people that look for PPC services on Google, on Bing, we used to do this, are looking at the service like a commodity. When you contact us at Guarantee PPC, if you haven't been screwed over by like 2 or 3 different other PPC agencies or professionals before, we don't work together because you don't understand why the service we charge costs so much. You literally have to get your ass handed to you hard several times before you understand why PPC services have to cost a couple grand a month. Because trust me, I'd love to start a business and pay someone $300 a month and they can make me rich. If it were that easy, come on. Why wouldn't everybody be rich at that point? And just in general, the people that are going to go hire somebody just by using Google, at least in our space, they don't know the difference between you and everybody else. And so we're the most expensive one, so of course they're just going to go with the cheap one. And even if they do go with us, their expectations are going to be so high. We get people that have been through the ringer and then been referred to us, or they've seen this channel and they understand how hard it is and how rare it is to find somebody who actually knows what they're doing. For a tax consultant, for a financial planner, for a chiropractor, that's not the case. I would be doing exactly this. So anyway, pretty much that's everything I could tell you about this. Take advantage of it while it's still hot. I mean, I would say that this is going to continue to work because I don't see anybody wanting to do this data feed for a long time. So I'd say it's going to work great as long as Bing doesn't get rid of it. But anyway, it definitely is super profitable right now. If you have any questions about this video, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. If you liked the video, you should give it a thumbs up / like. And consider subscribing, as I have a lot of other strategies that I share on this channel about how we use different techniques to actually guarantee results on our clients' campaigns at our firm. And this is coming from somebody who does all the strategy on our clients' accounts. And we manage several dozen PPC campaigns at any given time on Google, Bing, Facebook, and so forth. It's the best information you literally can find bar none on YouTube on actually making money and practical instructions to do it. So you should subscribe. I also got a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog where you can find other similar advice coming directly from me on what to do to make money with online advertising. If you actually do want somebody to help you out with your PPC, by the way, and you have been through the ringer like I mentioned a minute ago on this video, you can contact us and we're good enough at what we do, we can offer you a guarantee on the results we provide. Of course, it's not cheap, but the results are big. So if you're looking for the best person that can get you results in excess of what we charge still, and you want what you get what you pay for, and you want the best, you reach out. I can give you a quote on getting you some results and estimate how much results we can provide you in your market and for your business. So we don't work with everybody, but you can reach out to me and I can look over your business and we could potentially have a chat. So you can reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com and we'll look into what we can do for you. That said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in my next video where we have another great PPC strategy for you to be able to utilize there. See you then.